Hey YouTube, this is Papa Shango here, and showing you my project for this long weekend for the day. And what it is I bought a 2007 FJ Cruiser, and which I plan on doing some off-roading with. And so this is my journey, the beginning of my journey to getting it prepped and ready for some off-road fun. So this first step is communications. So I wanted to get my communications in place because it was something I can afford readily and put in right away. The FJ is a very capable unit. As a matter of fact, I was talking with somebody just 2 days ago who had bought a 2014 FJ and said that they took it off-roading that same weekend they bought it, and it just performed outstandingly with no aftermarket gear on it at all. They just couldn't believe it. So at least if I get my communications in place, I can maybe get a little mild off-roading in and have some fun. So I'll show you what I got here. As you all know, if you have an FJ, it has a very large double-din radio. Now, there's many ways of mounting a CB unit, but I wanted it as clean as possible. I've seen guys mount it on the side of the side of the shifting unit that goes down the center console, actually, and it was kind of on the passenger side. I didn't want it down there because if you're off-roading and bouncing around, I didn't want somebody hitting their leg against that. So I've seen other guys mount it up on the dash. I've seen them mount it under the dash. So, and once again, you know, it's right in that area where legs are going to be bouncing around or something, and I just didn't want that. So what I decided to do was I was going to sacrifice my OEM radio and put the CB unit right inside where that radio goes. And so what I did was I had to buy a new radio and everything with a double DIN unit. So this is what I bought. I bought this Kenwood digital media receiver. It does not play CDs, so I saved us some money there. I listen to the radio a little bit, but mostly I just used to listen to my own digital music. So all I needed was a head unit that could just play the music, and that's what this does. It just plays the music. I can use a USB memory stick in it, or connect to it with my phone or whatever whatever I have my media on. So I saved a lot of money on that, and I got the corresponding wiring pack for that, and I got this double DIN unit, which is going to hold both the stereo head and my Cobra CB radio. I got the 18WXST2, which has got a weather band on it, 40 CB channels, and 10 weather stations. So it also has dual watch, so I can simultaneously monitor two stations at once, and sound tracker, noise reduction system. So that would be the CD radio. Now I had to get some other things that go along with it. Just little things. Here's some mounts to hold the microphone portion of the CB radio. I also got this K40 Antenna Cable here. And this is very important, this antenna cable, because what it has is you've got your connection here, but you screw it on afterwards. So this means that I can run this cable through a smaller hole, and when I get it to where I want it to be, then I can just attach the other end to it, and I've got a solid cable connection. That right there is very important, I feel, because I didn't want to have to drill any big holes. So this is something really cool right here. This is a Comm inverse multiplexer system. And what this is going to allow me to do is I will be able to plug in my AM/FM radio here and the CB here. And this will go out to my CB antenna, and that means I can use the CB antenna as my car stereo antenna as well. Now, I know I've got an antenna on the FJ right now. I didn't want two antennas on it, for one. And number two, I'm going to, down the road, I'm going to be installing a snorkel, and I decided to go with a River Raider snorkel, which will go through the panel which the antenna comes out of, which is a very small panel, probably about, I'd say probably about 6 inches by 5 inches big, and you're just drilling basically one hole. The reason I want to do that instead of going with your traditional snorkel that goes right down the fender is that's a lot of holes on the fender, and to me it just seems like more opportunity for rusting. And if it starts to rust, you got to replace the whole fender down the road. Whereas if this starts to rust with this River Raider one, you just have this little small piece of panel to replace, a little small piece of panel. So it's going to come out just to the left side of the window and stay really low. You can get an attachment where you can go higher if you're going through deep water. But it basically is going to stick out just like it would on a Hummer. So I got that because I was going to eliminate that front antenna and just use the CB antenna for the radio and the CB. So that's what this unit here will allow me to do. The other thing here is very important if you want to if you want a CB for longer than a day or so, is SWR meter. And what this does is this helps you basically tune your CB radio so you can get it working properly. I don't understand too much about why this happens, but apparently if you don't tune your antenna, you'll burn your CB up. So that's what you use this for. Most importantly, because I went through this already, is I bought this SWR. I bought one similar to this online and got it in the mail, and everything was great. I thought everything was great, but you need a jumper cable that goes between the CB and this unit here, which it didn't come with. So I thought, well, I can easily pick one up somewhere. Just out of, like, I don't know what's going on, but I went to all kinds of places. The Source, which bought Radio Shack here in Canada. I went to a CB place. I went to all kinds of places to try to find a jumper cable to do that, and I couldn't find one. So I had to return it and buy a new one, and this one here came with this cable. So if you're looking to do something like this, make sure you have that jumper cable, or you're going to have to look for one all over town to see if you can find one. Right here, you'll see I have, this is my CB antenna. This is a tunable Fire Stick 2 CB antenna. And up here at the top, this is where you tune it. I got a 4-foot one here. And I wanted to initially go with a whip. Then I forget the brand name, but they're more flexible than this one is. But then I heard that they don't have a great range, and I wanted something where I can get a little bit of a decent range. So what I opted for was to get the attachments for it and then add a spring to it. So if it does get caught on anything, the spring will flex, and the antenna does have a little bit of flex to it, but the spring will flex and allow me to pass by it without breaking this antenna off. Finally, what's going to bring it all together is this mount. And I'll probably show you a little bit later how that goes on. But there's several mounts out there I've heard out there, and seen. And one of them was invented by, from what I'm understanding, a guy in the FJ Cruiser forums, and it's called a Bandy Mount. And this one here isn't a Bandy Mount, but it's very similar to it. And it just mounts on, and it looks OEM to the FJ. It just really simply just mounts on. It's a very easy mount. And but this one here is from Boztech. This one here is stainless steel, so it's more resistant to rust. It's what I'm understanding. So that would be the final piece. So that concludes this video of what I've got for my project here, and I'll be checking in with you and showing you my progress throughout the day. Thanks.